Smoke coiled through the morning like a living thing. It clung to the hills thick and gray, rolling over the broken fences and shattered glass of what used to be Cradle Hill's orphanage. The sky above was wrong. Not blue, not even black, but a dull copper color stained by fire and something else. Something not of Earth. Soldiers moved in silence. Their armor was cracked, their faces streaked with soot and exhaustion. They had seen cities burn, fleets fall, whole continents go dark. But this was different. The enemy had not struck a military base. They had not bombed a capital or a power station. They had flown over every major city, ignored every army, and dropped their weapons on orphanages. Cradle Hills was the last. Among the ruins, a figure walked. She was tall, slender, with skin like pale birch bark and hair the color of winter mist. Her eyes, silver, almost luminous, took in the destruction without flinching. She wore simple clothes, a gray tunic, dark trousers, boots scuffed by travel. No insignia, no weapon, no sign of rank. Just a woman, alone in a graveyard of childhood. Her name was Alara. No one knew it yet. No one had asked. She moved past toppled cribs, melted toys, charred storybooks. Everything small, everything soft had been turned to ash. But in the center of the main dormitory, where the roof had caved in but the walls still stood like broken ribs, she found it. A child's hand. Not whole, just the fingers curled around something small and metallic. The flesh was gone, burned away, but the bones remained locked in a final grip. Alara knelt. She did not weep. Elves did not weep like humans. But something deep in her chest tightened like a string pulled too far. She pried the object free, a data chip, warm to the touch though it should have been cold. It pulsed faintly once, as if responding to her skin. Behind her, boots crunched on rubble. "Halt," a voice said. Alara did not turn. She tucked the chip into a pouch at her belt. Two soldiers approached. One was young, eyes wide with shock and fear. The other was older, scarred, with a patch over his left eye and a rifle held loose but ready. His name tag read Danny Marlowe. He was a captain, though his uniform was missing half its buttons. "Who are you?" Danny asked. "How did you get past the quarantine line?" Alara rose slowly. She faced them now, her silver eyes meeting Danny's with calm intensity. "I walked," she said. Her voice was quiet, clear like water over stone. "You walked through a war zone, past drones, patrols, orbital fire, with no armor, no weapon, yes, why?" Alara looked past them toward the eastern ridge, where the smoke thinned enough to show a sliver of the sky. "They took something," she said. "The enemy?" "They took the kids." "Not all," Alara said, "but enough." The younger soldier shifted uneasily. "Sir, intel says the raiders didn't take anyone. They just burned everything." Alara's lips pressed into a thin line. They burned what they could not carry. Danny studied her. She did not look alien. Not like the spindly, multi-eyed horrors that had descended from the stars. But she wasn't human either. Her ears tapered to delicate points. Her movements were too smooth, too silent. "You're not on any registry," Danny said. "No elf has been seen on Earth in over 300 years. History says your kind left after the Great Silence." "We left," Alara said simply. "We did not forget." Before Danny could respond, a low rumble echoed from the sky. Not thunder. Not an explosion. A growl. The soldiers spun, rifle snapping up. Above the ridge, something vast and dark broke through the smoke. Wings, leathery, wide enough to shadow a house, beat once, twice. Then it landed. The ground shook. It was a dragon. Not the fire-breathing monsters of fairy tales, but something sleeker, more alien. Its scales were deep cobalt, shimmering with hints of violet in the strange light. Its eyes glowed amber, intelligent, alert. It stood taller than a truck. Its tail coiled like a spring. Its claws sunk into the earth without effort. The soldiers raised their weapons. "Stand down," Alara said, her voice calm but firm. The dragon core rumbled again, a sound that vibrated in the chest. He lowered his head toward Alara, nudging her shoulder gently with his snout. Then he turned those glowing eyes on the soldiers. Not threatening, just watching. "He's yours?" Danny asked, lowering his rifle slightly. "He is with me," Alara said. "As I am with him." Core snorted, a puff of warm mist curling from his nostrils. He stepped closer, placing himself between Alara and the soldiers, though he made no move to attack. Danny exhaled slowly. "You know what's happening, don't you?" Alara nodded. "They didn't come for your cities. They came for the children. Why? Because the children are not what you think." That stopped Danny cold. He glanced at his comrade, who looked more lost than ever. "What do you mean?" Danny asked. Alara reached into her pouch and pulled out the data chip. She held it up. "This holds a voice. A child's voice. It repeats one phrase." She pressed a small indentation on the chip's side. A voice emerged. Small, scared, but clear. "They're not orphans. They're seeds." The words hung in the smoky air. Even Kor tilted his head as if listening. Danny frowned. "Seeds, what does that mean?" "It means," Ilara said, "that your orphanages were never just shelters. They were nurseries." She looked around at the ruins again. "You thought you were saving lost children. You were protecting something far older, far more important. And from who? From those who fear what they do not understand." A distant explosion boomed on the horizon. The copper sky flickered with green lightning. Danny's radio crackled to life. "All units. Retreat to Omega Line. Fleet is collapsing. Repeat, fall back." Danny shut it off. He looked at Alara, then at the dragon, then at the ruins. "If you know something, tell us. We're all that's left." Alara hesitated. For the first time, something like sorrow crossed her face. "The children," she said softly, "were never meant to be human. Not entirely. Their blood carries memories, star maps, songs that can wake old things. The enemy knows this. That is why they burn the orphanages. They do not want the seeds to grow." Kor let out a low, mournful sound, almost like a sigh. "But one survived," Alara added. "At least one. The chip came from her. She is out there." Danny stared. "You want us to help you find her?" "I do not ask," Alara said. "But if you wish to stop this war, you will follow the voice." She turned and began walking toward the road that led down the hill. Kor fell in step beside her, his massive form casting a long shadow. Danny hesitated only a second. Then he signaled to his comrade. "Come on. We're going with them." "Sir? Are you sure she's—" "Not one of us. No," Danny said, watching Alara's figure grow smaller in the haze. "But maybe she's what we need to become." They followed. Behind them, the orphanage continued to smolder. But in the pouch at Alara's side, the chip pulsed again. Once, twice, like a heartbeat restarting. Far above, hidden in the clouds, a single alien scout drone hovered. It had watched everything. Now it turned and sped away, carrying new data back to its mothership. The hunt was not over. It had only just begun. And somewhere in the ruins of a broken world, a seed still breathed. The convoy moved at night. 3 armored transports, 2 fuel haulers, and a battered medical crawler, all patched with weld scars and hope. They rolled across the cracked plains of Nevada, where highways had split open like dry riverbeds and the bones of old satellites littered the sand. Alara rode in the lead vehicle's cargo bay, sitting cross-legged on the floor. Kor could not fit inside, so he walked beside the convoy, his massive form a dark silhouette against the starless sky. Sometimes he lifted his head and sniffed the wind, his amber eyes narrowing. He sensed things the humans could not. Ripples in the air, shifts in the magnetic field, the faint hum of distant engines. Inside, the soldiers kept their distance. They whispered about her. Some said she was a ghost. Others claimed she was a weapon, sent by the last elven enclaves. A few thought she was insane. Only Danny sat near her. He offered her water. She accepted it without thanks, but she drank slowly. Her silver eyes fixed on the chip in her palm. It pulsed every few minutes, steady as a tide. "You still haven't told us where we're going," Danny said. "West," Ilara replied. "West is the dead zone. Radiation, drone patrols, no air cover. The signal leads there." "Whose signal?" Ilara did not answer. Instead, she held up the chip. "Play it again." Danny sighed but tapped the side. The child's voice filled the cramped space. "They're not orphans. They're seeds," the same words, the same tone. But this time something else lingered beneath. A faint harmonic like a second voice singing just out of range. Danny frowned. "I hear it now. There's something underneath." "A pattern," Alara nodded. "It's not just words. It's a key. A key to what?" She looked at him, her gaze steady. "To who they are." Before Danny could press further, the transport lurched. Brakes screamed. Overhead lights flickered. "Contact," the driver shouted over the comms. Every soldier grabbed their weapons. Danny was on his feet in an instant. Alara rose more slowly, tucking the chip away. Outside, the convoy had stopped in a dry riverbed. Ahead, the road was blocked by wreckage. Twisted metal, scorched tires, the husk of a civilian bus. No bodies, just silence. Kor stood at the front, his wings half spread, a low growl rumbling in his chest. "Scouts," one soldier muttered, scanning the cliffs with binoculars. "No movement," another said, "but I'm getting interference. Like static, but alive." Danny moved to the open rear ramp. "Alara, what do you feel?" She stepped past him, bare feet touching the cracked earth. She closed her eyes, breathed in, out. "They are here," she said. "Where?" "Not where, how." She raised her hands, palms facing the sky. Her fingers moved. Not fast, not frantic, but precise, like she was tuning an instrument no one else could see. A sound began. Not loud, not sharp. A hum, deep and resonant, rising from her throat, shaped by her hands. It was not music. It was older than music. It was structure, frequency, memory. The air shimmered. Then, movement. From the cliffs, from the bus wreckage, from the sand itself, small shapes detached. Drones, but not human. Not alien, as the soldiers knew them. They were smooth, obsidian black, shaped like teardrops, no larger than a dog. They had no visible weapons, no lights, no seams, just silent, gliding forms hovering in a wide circle around the convoy. "Hold fire," Danny ordered. The drones did not attack. They simply waited. Alara's hum grew stronger. Her hands traced glowing lines in the air. Runes, faint and silver, fading as soon as they formed. The drones responded. One drifted forward. It split, not violently, but like a seed pod opening. Inside, nestled in soft gel, was a small object, a locket, tarnished silver shaped like a leaf. Alara stepped forward. The drone lowered it into her palm. She opened it. Inside, a photograph. A little girl, 6 or 7, dark hair, bright eyes, standing in front of Cradle Hill's orphanage. On the back, handwritten, "Lena, age 6, sings in her sleep." And beside the photo, a second chip, smaller, darker. Alara closed the locket. The drone resealed itself and retreated. "They're not enemy," she said softly. "They're guardians." "Guardians?" Danny asked. "Who sent them?" "The same ones who built the orphanages." She turned to Kor. The dragon lowered his head. She placed the locket against his snout. He inhaled deeply, then let out a soft chuff. His amber eyes flared brighter. "He knows her scent," Alara said. "Lena is alive. And she is close," Danny stared. "How do you know her name?" "The chip told me. Not in words. In resonance. Lena is the first awakened seed. The others sleep." She woke early. Awakened to what? Alara looked at the cliffs, at the silent drones. To remember. That night they made camp in the riverbed. Fires were forbidden, too risky. Instead they used cold rations and low-light lamps. Alara sat apart, cleaning the locket with a scrap of cloth. Kor lay beside her, his tail curled around her like a wall. Danny sat across from her, a cup of bitter coffee in his hands. "Tell me," he said, "about the elves. About why you're here." Alara was quiet for a long time. Then softly, "We did not leave Earth out of fear. We left out of grief. Our kind once walked among you, quietly helping. We taught your ancestors how to listen, to the stars, to the earth, to each other. But you grew loud. You built walls. You forgot how to hear." She touched the locket. "When the silence came, the great silence 300 years ago, our songs stopped working. The connection broke. We tried to fix it, we failed. So we left, hoping you would find your way back. And the children? We left one gift behind. A failsafe. We worked with a group of your scientists, people who still remembered. Together we wove elven memory strands into human genomes, not to change who you are, but to give you a chance to remember when the time came." Danny's eyes widened. "The orphans. They're part elf? Not in body, not in appearance, in potential, in resonance. Their minds hold dormant songs, codes, maps, warnings. They do not know it, not yet. But under stress, under danger, some begin to wake. Like Lena. Like Lena." A soldier approached, holding a tablet. "Captain, we intercepted a broadcast. Not from our fleet. From deeper space." He handed it over. The screen showed static, then a face. Humanoid but pale, with large eyes and no mouth. A translator voice spoke. "Seed locations confirmed. Cradle Hills destroyed. 9 others remain. Initiate cleansing protocol. Do not allow growth. The signal cut." Danny looked at Alara. "They know. They have always known, she said. They are the Silence. Who are they? Ilara stood. She walked to the edge of the camp, looked up at the sky, still copper-streaked, still wrong. They were once like us, a species that sang with the stars. But they chose control over harmony. They silenced their own children to keep power. Now they hunt any world where song returns. Kor rose and stood beside her, his wings spreading slightly, catching the faint starlight that managed to pierce the haze. You think we can stop them? Danny said. Not a question, no, Ilara said. But the children can. That night the convoy moved again. They followed the signal from the new chip, fainter but clearer. It led them toward the Sierra Nevada mountains, toward a place marked on old maps as Vale Pass. No one used that road anymore. It led to a decommissioned research station. Observatory 9 shut down after the first alien sightings. As they climbed, the air grew colder. The drones followed, gliding silently above, forming a protective ring. Just before dawn, the lead transport skidded to a stop. Ahead, the road ended at a massive gate, rusted, overgrown, but still standing. Beyond it, a tunnel carved into the mountain. Above the gate, half hidden by vines, a faded sign read, Project Cradle. Authorized personnel only. Ilara stepped forward. She placed her palm on the gate. It groaned. Then with a hiss of ancient hydraulics, it opened. Inside, the tunnel was dark, but as they entered, lights flickered on, soft blue, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. The walls were lined with murals, not paint, not screens. Living moss, shaped into images. A human child holding hands with an elf. A dragon coiled around a star. A tree with roots reaching into space. And in the center of each mural, the same symbol, a spiral with a dot at its heart. The seed glyph, Ilara whispered. At the end of the tunnel stood a door. No handle, no keypad, just the glyph glowing faintly. Ilara approached. She did not touch it. She sang a single note, clear, pure. The door opened. Inside was a chamber, circular, empty, except for one thing. A terminal. Old, covered in dust, but powered. Its screen lit up as they entered. Words appeared. Welcome back, Guardian. Subject Lena is safe. Location secured. Awakening Phase 2 begins at first resonance. Then, a new line warning enemy proximity detected. They are listening as if in answer. The lights dimmed. Outside, Kor roared. Not in fear, in challenge. The convoy's radios exploded with static. Then a voice not translated, not human, filled the air, deep, cold, endless. Seedkeeper. You have led them to the vault. Now you will deliver it. Ilara turned to Danny. Her eyes burned silver. They are here. And high above the mountain, the sky split open, not with fire, with silence. A ship descended, sleek, black, shaped like a closing fist. It made no sound. But every human in the chamber clutched their heads, blood trickling from their ears. Only Ilara and Kor stood unmoved. She placed her hand on the terminal. Play the child's voice, she said. Danny obeyed. The chip activated. They're not orphans. They're seeds. The ship hesitated. For the first time, the silence stuttered. And deep in the mountain, something else answered. A heartbeat. Slow. Steady. Awake. The black ship did not attack. It hovered silent and immense, its surface drinking the light. The humans pressed against the chamber walls, hands over their ears, breath shallow. Even Danny swayed, his vision blurring at the edges. Only Ilara and Kor remained steady. Ilara because her kind had been forged in older silences. Kor because dragons did not hear with ears alone. They heard with their bones. The child's voice still played from the terminal. They're not orphans. They're seeds. On the third repetition, the ship pulsed. A ripple of darkness like ink dropped in water. Then without sound or warning it rose. Higher. Higher. Until it vanished into the copper-stained sky. The pressure lifted. The humans gasped, stumbling forward. What just happened? Danny rasped, wiping blood from his ear. It recognized the seed signal, Ilara said. But it does not understand it. Not yet. She turned to the terminal. Her fingers brushed the screen. More text appeared. Subject Lena. Status stable, biorhythm synchronized with arc core. Physical location. Sublevel 3. Caution. Dormant Guardian active. Arc core? Danny asked. Not a weapon, Alara said. A cradle, a vessel, meant to carry the seeds beyond the silence. Where? To the Moon of Veils, no one spoke. The name sent a chill through the room. The Moon of Veils was not on any modern star chart. It had been erased after the Great Silence. Legends called it the place where stars go to sleep. Kor nudged Ilara's shoulder, his growl low and urgent. He was looking at the far wall, where the mural of the tree with cosmic roots shimmered faintly. He senses it too, Ilara said. The vault is deeper. She pressed her palm against the mural's center, the spiral glyph. The moss pulsed silver. A seam appeared in the stone. With a groan of ancient gears, a hidden hatch slid open, revealing a stairway spiraling down into darkness. Ilara did not hesitate. She descended. Kor followed, his wings folded tight, his claws clicking softly on the metal steps. Danny signaled 2 soldiers, Thomas and Lee, and brought up the rear. The air grew colder the deeper they went. The walls changed, no longer concrete but smooth, dark stone veined with threads of pale light, like frozen lightning. At the bottom, a corridor stretched ahead lined with arched doorways. Each door bore a name. Milo, age 4. Dreams in Color, June, age 7. Hums Before Storms. Ren, age 5. Knows the way home. Even blindfolded, Ilara stopped at the last door. Lena, age 6. Sings in her sleep. The door was ajar. Inside, a room no larger than a closet. No bed, no chair. Only a circular platform in the center, glowing faintly. And on it, lying still, eyes closed, chest rising and falling slowly, a small girl. Lena. She looked fragile, pale, her dark hair fanned out around her head like spilled ink. She wore a simple white gown. Around her neck hung a black stone pendant, the same shape as the spiral glyph. Ilara knelt beside her. She did not touch her. Not yet. She is in deep resonance, she whispered. Her mind is linked to the Ark. But her body is weakening. She cannot hold the connection much longer. Danny stepped forward. Can we wake her? No. If we break the link now, the Ark stays dormant. And without the Ark, the seeds cannot survive what is coming. Kor lowered his head, sniffing gently at Lena's hand. Then he froze. His amber eyes widened. He backed up, wings flaring slightly. Not in fear, but in recognition. Ilara saw it too. Beneath the platform, faint but unmistakable, a vibration, not mechanical, alive. She placed her hand on the floor. The stone was warm, pulsing just like the chip. There is something below us, she said. Another level? Danny asked. Older. She stood and turned to the wall behind Lena's platform. The stone there was different. Darker, smoother, covered in glyphs no human language had ever recorded. Elven script, but not the kind Ilara knew. This was older. Primal. She traced one symbol with her fingertip. The wall shimmered. Not a door this time. A memory. Images flooded the room. Not on a screen, but in the air itself, like smoke given shape. A great hall, filled with elves and humans standing together. A star map glowing above them. A dragon larger than Kor, wings spanning a city, hovering over a cradle of light. Then warships falling. Cities burning. Screams swallowed by silence. And a final scene. A small ship launching into the void, carrying hundreds of children. Not in cryopods. In song pods, each child wrapped in harmonic fields. Their minds linked to a single core. The Ark. The vision faded. Ilara staggered back, breathing hard. They tried to save them, she said. All of them. Not just the hybrids. The pure elven children, too. The last hope. Where did the ship go? Danny asked. Here, Ilara said. The Moon of Veils. But something went wrong. The Ark never launched. It buried itself. Went to sleep. Waiting for a seed to wake it. She turned to Lena. She is trying. Kor suddenly snarled. A sound like tearing metal echoed from the corridor. The soldiers raised their weapons. What was that? Thomas whispered. Ilara's eyes narrowed. The dormant guardian. Before anyone could react, the floor trembled. Stone cracked. From the far end of the corridor, something emerged. It was tall, nearly 3 meters. Shaped like a human, but wrong. Its limbs were too long, its joints bending in impossible ways. Its skin was gray and cracked like old pottery. It had no face. just a smooth, featureless surface where eyes and mouth should be. It moved silently, gliding, not walking. "Don't shoot," Alara said sharply, but Lee fired. The bullet struck the Guardian's chest and shattered, falling to the floor like glass. The Guardian did not flinch. It raised one hand. Lee screamed, not from pain, from memory. His eyes rolled back. He dropped his rifle, clutching his head, sobbing. No, not her, please." Danny grabbed him, but it was too late. Lee collapsed unconscious. "It does not harm the body," Alara said. "It shows you what you buried. Your grief. Your guilt. Your silence." The Guardian turned toward Lena's room. It sees her as a threat, Alara realized. She is waking the Ark, and the Guardian's purpose is to keep it asleep. Kor stepped between them, his wings spreading wide, a deep, resonant growl building in his chest. Alara knew fighting would not work. She did the only thing left. She sang. Not a rune, not a command, a lullaby. One her mother had sung long ago beneath twin moons. The notes were soft, weaving through the air like mist. The Guardian paused, its head tilted as if listening from a great distance. Kor joined her, not with sound but with breath. A low rhythmic pulse from his chest, matching her rhythm. The Guardian's limbs trembled, cracks spread across its faceless head. And then, it knelt, not in surrender, in recognition. The smooth surface of its face shimmered. For a moment an image formed, a child's hand reaching up, an elf's hand reaching down. The Guardian reached toward Lena, gently, and placed something at her feet. A small, silver key, shaped like a dragon curled around a seed. Alara picked it up. It was warm. The Guardian turned, walked back down the corridor and vanished into the wall, sealing itself away once more. Silence returned. Alara knelt beside Lena again. She pressed the key against the blackstone pendant. It clicked. The pendant opened. Inside, not a photo, a star map, not drawn, alive. Pinpricks of light swirled and shifted, forming constellations no human astronomer had ever seen, and at its center, a single moon pale, veiled in silver mist. The moon of veils. Lena's eyes fluttered open. Just for a second. Her pupils were silver. She looked at Alara, smiled faintly, then whispered two words. "Take me home." Outside, the sky darkened, not with night, with ships, dozens of them. Black. Silent. Descending. The enemy had followed the resonance. The final broadcast crackled over the convoy's emergency channel. One last message. Looping endlessly, seed vessel located. Initiate termination. No survivors. Alara stood. She lifted Lena carefully into her arms. The girl was light, warm, still breathing softly. Kor lowered himself, offering his back. Alara climbed on, cradling Lena close. "Danny," she said, "get your people out, head east. Draw them away. And you? We go west. To the moon?" Alara looked up, through the layers of earth and steel as if she could see the stars beyond the smoke. "No," she said, "we go through." Kor spread his wings, and with a single mighty beat he burst upward, through the vault, through the mountain into the burning sky. Behind them, the convoy scattered. Ahead, the stars waited, and deep in Lena's chest, the Ark's heartbeat grew stronger, steady, true, ready. The sky burned, not with fire but with silence, thick, heavy, pressing down like a shroud. Kor flew through it, his cobalt scales dimmed by ash, his wings beating against air that felt wrong, thin, poisoned. Alara clung to his back, one arm wrapped tight around Lena, the other gripping the ridge of his spine. The girl had not woken again, but her breath came steady, and the blackstone pendant glowed softly against her chest. Below, the earth was scarred. Cities were blackened husks. Rivers ran dry or thick with chemical sludge. Forests stood as skeletal fingers clawing at the sky. The enemy had not just attacked humanity. They had unraveled the world itself, thread by thread, to make sure nothing could grow again. Kor banked hard as a patrol drone streaked past, its obsidian body humming with silent menace. He did not roar. He did not fight. He flew like a shadow, low and fast, hugging the broken terrain. They were heading west, toward the Pacific coast, where the last human fleet still held a sliver of orbital control. Ilara knew they would not make it alone. She pressed her forehead to Lena's, whispering words in the old tongue, words that carried no meaning in human speech, only resonance. Lena stirred. Her silver eyes opened for a moment and she reached up, touching Ilara's cheek with a small, cool hand. "They're waiting," Lena murmured. "Who?" Ilara asked. "The others." Then she slept again. Ilara looked ahead. On the horizon, the ocean shimmered. Not blue, but gray, choked with wreckage. And above it, faint but growing stronger, the hum of human engines. The fleet. Not much of one. 3 carriers, a dozen frigates, and a cluster of support vessels, all battered, all running on hope and spare parts. They hovered just inside the atmosphere, forming a ragged shield between Earth and the void. As Core descended, searchlights swept over them. Comms crackled. Unidentified aerial contact. Identify or be engaged. "It's me," Ilara said, her voice calm. "And the seed." A pause. "Then Ilara? Danny said you'd come." The voice belonged to Captain May Torres, commander of the last carrier, the Steadfast. She had lost an arm in the first orbital strike. Now she wore a prosthetic lined with neural feedback threads, gifts from the few surviving. Tech orphans who still remembered how to weave machine and mind. Core landed on the main deck with a thud that rattled bulkheads. Soldiers rushed forward, weapons ready, but stopped when they saw Lena in Ilara's arms. Moran, a young officer with cybernetic eyes, stepped forward. "Captain Torres is waiting in the war room." Ilara nodded. She did not walk. She was carried on a stretcher brought by 2 medics who moved with quiet reverence. Core followed, his massive form forcing everyone to give wide berth. He curled himself around the hatch leading below decks, a living gate. In the war room, holograms flickered, maps of enemy positions, casualty reports, countdowns to projected fleet collapse. Danny stood at the center, exhausted but alert. Beside him stood Captain Torres, tall and sharp-eyed, her prosthetic hand resting on the table. "You found her?" Danny said. "She found us," Ilara replied. She laid Lena on a medical couch. The girl's pendant pulsed brighter. The star map within swirled faster. Torres studied her. "Is she the key?" "She is the first," Ilara said. "But not the only one." She turned to the officers. "How many children do you have aboard?" 8, Danny said. "From the other orphanages. We got them out before the raid's finished. They're in the lower berths, scared, quiet. Bring them here." Torres hesitated. "They're just kids, Ilara." "They are seeds," Ilara said. "And the Ark will not wake for one voice alone. It needs a chorus." The children were brought up one by one. They ranged from 4 to 9 years old. Some clung to stuffed animals. Others stared at the floor. All were thin, pale, eyes too old for their faces. Ilara knelt before them. "Do any of you sing?" she asked gently. A small boy, Milo, nodded. "In the dark. When it's quiet. Do you hear music that isn't there?" she asked June. The girl whispered. "Before the rain. Always." Ren, the blindfolded boy, tilted his head. "I hear the stars. They hum," Ilara smiled. "Then you are ready." She placed Lena in the center of the room. The other children gathered around her, drawn not by command but by something deep in their blood. Ilara began to sing. Not loud, not complex. A single tone, pure and clear. One by one, the children joined. Milo hummed a low note. June added a second higher. Ren tapped his foot in perfect rhythm. Others swayed, eyes closed, hands reaching for each other. The air changed. Light gathered in the center of the circle, not from the lamps, from them. Silver threads wove between their fingers, their breath, their hearts. The star map in Lena's pendant flared. A new image formed above the table. A moon, veiled in mist, with a single structure at its core. Not a building. A living tree of light roots sunk into the moon's heart. Branches stretching into space. The Ark, Danny breathed. "It's real," Torres said, voice hushed. "But it's dormant," Ilara said. "To wake it, the chorus must be strong enough to reach across the void. And to do that, they must fly." "Fly?" Danny asked. "They're children." "Not just children," Ilara said. "Vessels. And they must go to the moon." Silence filled the room. Then Torres spoke. "The fleet can't make that jump. Our drives are failing. Shields at 30%. We'd be torn apart before we left orbit." "You do not need to reach it," Ilara said. "You only need to get close enough for the chorus to carry." She looked at Danny. Your fleet's job is not to win. It is to hold the line. Long enough for the seeds to sing. Danny understood. His jaw tightened. You're asking us to die. I am asking you to give them time, Ilara said. That is how songs are born. From sacrifice. Torres activated the fleet-wide comm. All hands, she said. This is not a retreat. This is a stand. We draw their fire. We give Earth one last chance, orders flew. Ships repositioned, weapons charged. Pilots strapped in, faces grim but steady. In a quiet bay, Ilara taught the children, not how to fight, how to resonate. Kor lay on the hangar floor, wings spread. The children sat on him, small hands resting on his scales. Ilara walked among them, placing her palms on their backs, tuning their breath, their hearts, their fear. Do not be afraid, she told them. Your voices are older than this war, older than silence. Lena opened her eyes. She sat up, looked at Ilara. You're not just a guardian, she said. Ilara knelt. What am I? The last mother. Tears, real human tears, filled Ilara's silver eyes. She touched Lena's face. Then let me protect you one more time. As the fleet powered up, Danny found Ilara on the observation deck. Kor waited below, the children already aboard his back. I still don't understand, Danny said. Why you?
Why now?
Ilara looked at the stars. Because someone had to remember, and someone had to stay. You could leave. Go with them. No, she said. The seeds must go alone. Their song must be free of my influence. I am of the old world. They are the new. She turned to him. But you are the bridge. Tell your people what happened here. Not just the war, the hope, the choice. Danny nodded. Then Ilara did something unexpected. She hugged him briefly. Tightly. Thank you, she whispered, for not giving up. Below, alarms blared. Enemy signatures bloomed on the edge of sensor range, hundreds of them. The final battle had begun. Kor leapt into the sky, carrying the children, heading not for safety, but for the tier in space where the moon of Veils waited. The human fleet turned as one, engines roaring, weapons blazing. And Ilara stood on the deck, watching them go, her hands raised not in farewell, but in song, one last lullaby, for those who would live and those who would not. The sky was not sky anymore. It was a storm of fire and silence. Human ships, small, scarred, burning at the edges, formed a ring around the last path to orbit. Their cannons spat plasma. Their shields flickered like dying candles, and still they held. Below, on the bridge of the Steadfast, Captain Torres gripped her console with her good hand. Her prosthetic fingers twitched, feeding real-time data to the fleet's dying network. Shields at 12%, an officer called. Reroute power from non-essentials, Torres said. Give me 5 more minutes. Sir, we're losing frigates by the second. Then make their deaths count. On the main screen, Kor appeared, a cobalt streak cutting through the chaos, the children clinging to his back. Enemy interceptors peeled off the main swarm, chasing him. Danny, Torres barked. Cover him. From the left flank, Danny's squadron broke formation. 6 fighters, all that remained of the Skyhawks, dove into the path of the hunters. They fired not to destroy, but to distract, to delay. 3 fighters exploded in silent bursts of light. Danny's ship took a hit to the wing. He spun, fired one last missile, and veered hard right, drawing more enemies away from Kor's path. Kor did not look back. He flew upward into the thinning air toward the shimmering tear in space, the rift that led to the moon of Veils. Inside the rift, reality bent. Stars stretched into lines. Time slowed. The children held on, eyes closed, hands linked, humming the song Ilara had taught them. Lena stood at the front, her blackstone pendant blazing like a tiny sun. She raised her arms and the chorus began. Not loud, not sharp. A soft, rising harmony that wove through the void like roots through soil. Silver light spilled from their mouths, their fingertips, their hearts. It gathered around Kor, forming a shell, not of armor but of resonance. The enemy ships that followed them into the rift slowed, not from damage, from memory. Their black hulls trembled. Cracks appeared, and from within those cracks, light, faint at first, then stronger. Faces formed in the view screens of the alien cockpits. Not monstrous, not cruel, weary, sad, ancient. One ship broke off, not to attack, to listen. Then another. The chorus grew. Back on Earth, Alara stood alone on the observation deck. The fleet was nearly gone. The Steadfast listed heavily to port, fires blooming along its spine, but she did not move. She sang with them. Her voice, thin but clear, joined the children's across the void. It was not magic. It was memory. The oldest song, the one that said, "You are not alone." Deep in the rift, the moon of veils appeared, pale, silent, wrapped in silver mist. At its center stood the Ark. Not a ship, not a station, but a living tree of light, its branches coiled around a core that pulsed like a heart. The children's song reached it. The Ark answered. A single note, deep and vast, rolled through space. Every human ship still flying shuddered but did not break. Every alien vessel froze. And then, the change. From the Ark's core, a wave of light spread outward. Not fire, not force. Understanding. It washed over the alien fleet. Their ships did not explode. They unfolded. Panels slid open. Inner chambers glowed with soft blue light. And from those chambers, children. Alien children. Small, thin, eyes wide with wonder. They had been hidden, silenced. Just like Earth's orphans, the enemy was not evil. They were afraid. Afraid of what their own children might become. The chorus reached them, and they remembered. One by one, the alien warships powered down. Their weapons retracted. Their hulls softened, blooming with patterns. Glyphs of peace, of reunion, of shared sorrow. On the bridge of a massive command vessel, a tall figure, pale, face smooth, eyes like dark stars, removed its helmet. Beneath it was not a monster but a parent. Tears traced paths down its cheeks as the song filled its mind. It whispered a single word, translated instantly by the fleet's dying systems. Home. Back on Earth, the fighting stopped. Not because one side won, because both sides finally heard. Kor landed gently on the surface of the moon. The children stepped off his back, bare feet touching the soft, glowing moss. Lena walked to the base of the Ark tree, placed her palm on its trunk. The bark shimmered, opened. Within, hundreds of pods, each holding a child, human and elven, wrapped in light. The Ark had been waiting. Not to escape. To reunite. Alara watched from the deck as the last human ship drifted, its engines dark. Torres sat in her chair, eyes closed, a small smile on her lips. Danny's fighter floated nearby, empty. Ejected safely into a rescue pod that now drifted toward an alien vessel lowering a ramp in silent offer. Kor lifted his head. He looked back through the rift straight at Alara. She nodded. Then he turned, curled his massive body around the children, and wrapped his wings over them like a blanket. The Ark tree bloomed. Light spread across the moon, then through the rift, washing over Earth. Where it touched, ash turned to soil, cracks in the ground sealed. Rivers ran clear. The copper sky faded, revealing true stars for the first time in years. On every continent, in every ruined city, people stepped outside. They looked up, and for the first time in generations, they listened, not to war, to song. Weeks later, a new fleet formed, not of warships but of transports. Human and alien, side by side. They carried scientists, healers, teachers, and children. At the heart of the fleet flew one cobalt dragon, now scarred but strong, with a girl named Lena on his back and a silver-eyed elf walking beside them in a shuttle made of woven starlight. They did not speak of victory. They spoke of beginning, for the orphanages were not endings. They were seeds. And seeds, given time and care and song, always grow.